Hey guys, Trevor here from Latest Drone. Today I want to talk to you about 11 common problems that you may encounter with your Phantom 4 battery. These problems that I'll list will apply to each drone in the Phantom 4 series. So the original Phantom 4, the Phantom 4 Advanced, the 4 Pro, and the Pro version 2.0. All of the batteries with those drones are essentially the same, the only difference being the original Phantom 4 had a slightly less powerful battery. But they're all the same physical dimension, so they're interchangeable. I did write an in-depth post about this, which I'll link in the description below, but let's go ahead and jump into the video. Problem number 1, inconsistent firmware. If you open up the DJI Go 4 app and you get a notification saying that you have inconsistent firmware with your battery, you'll need to update it. You can do so by following the prompts in the DJI Go 4 app, or you can do so with the DJI Assistant 2. You may notice that your flight times are drastically reduced. The drone will still work, but you won't get as long of a flight time. I'd recommend that you go ahead and update that firmware. This commonly happens when you're using batteries from different drones. Let's say you owned the original Phantom 4 and then you bought the Phantom 4 Pro version 2.0 and you're using those batteries interchangeably. The two different drones don't like this and you need to update the firmware for each. It's a pretty simple process and it doesn't take too long, so go ahead and update that firmware. Number 2, battery hibernation mode. If you've had your drone stored for a few months and you go to plug it into the charger and nothing happens, well, there's a good chance that battery entered hibernation mode. DJI set hibernation mode as a safety feature. It's really bad for LiPo batteries to get down to 0%. So the battery will hibernate, and to get it out of hibernation mode, if you were to push on that button, typically a green light shows up. A red light would appear if it's in hibernation mode. Wait for that red light to turn off, and then go ahead and plug it into the charger for a few hours, and the battery will come out of hibernation mode. Number 3, the battery is either too cold or too hot to charge. If you plug in the battery and the 4th LED flashes twice per second, that means the temperature is too low. If it flashes 3 times per second, the battery temperature is too high. So go ahead and be careful when you're charging those batteries. Think about where you're storing them. Also, if while you're charging the battery, it heats up too much and it passes that 104 degrees, it will shut off. Same thing if you're in a cold environment and it drops below that 41 degrees, the charging will shut off. If you've just flown with the battery, I would remove that battery and let it sit and cool off for a while before attempting to charge it. Number 4, over amperage protection. If the battery is charging and all of a sudden it stops and the number 2 LED starts flashing twice per second, that means that an overcurrent has been detected. Go ahead and unplug the battery, plug it back into the charger, and see if that fixes the issue. If it doesn't, try the charger in a different outlet. Number 5, short circuit detection. If the battery is charging and all of a sudden it shuts off and number 2 LED starts flashing 3 times per second, that means a short circuit has been detected. I would unplug the battery immediately and I would inspect the charger and the adapter. Check for fraying, loose wires, anything that looks out of the ordinary. Plug it back in, see if the battery continues to charge. If it doesn't, I would try a different outlet. Number 6, battery current over discharge. When the voltage drops to 12 volts in the battery, discharging stops. When over discharge occurs, the drone can actually fall from the sky, and I read quite a few instances where people have had issues with this. I would recommend seeing if there's a firmware update for your drone. If there isn't one, I would refresh the firmware with the DJI Assistant 2. Number 7, the charger may be bad. If you go to charge the battery and nothing happens, it could be the charger's fault. I would closely inspect it, see if there's any problems with it. If you have another battery, I would try plugging in that battery, see if it works with that charger. If you have another charger, I would try that charger. Also, I would try a few different outlets. DJI encourages you to use their chargers. Third-party ones do work, but typically you'll have the best results if you use an OEM charger. Number 8, corroded or bent pins. If one of the pins here on the bottom of the battery gets damaged, maybe you left it out and it got rusty or it got bent, you're gonna have an issue with it charging. I would also check inside the drone where the battery inserts to make sure that there's no damage, nothing stuck in there, no lint, anything like that. Number 9, a loose physical connection. If you notice on the batteries, they have this little clip here. When you insert the battery into the drone, You pinch down here and you feel the battery click in. If one of those little clips gets damaged, broken, the battery may not make a connection with the drone and you're gonna have some serious issues. If that happens, I would not use that battery as it's simply not worth the risk of your drone falling from the sky. Just get a new battery. Number 10, you may have purchased a third-party knockoff battery. I strongly recommend only using OEM DJI batteries. To make sure that you do buy a real battery from DJI, buy it from the online store at DJI or from an authorized dealer. And lastly, number 11, bad battery cell. If one of the 4 cells in your Phantom 4 battery goes bad, you're gonna have some serious issues. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the DJI Go 4 app and show you how to check each of those cells to make sure that you're still running strong. So it's pretty simple to check the health of each battery cell. Now that we're in the DJI Go 4 app, we'll go ahead and access the settings in the top right-hand corner. Once we're there, we'll jump over to the battery settings. Now here in the battery settings, if you see those 4 cylinders at the top of the screen, those indicate your battery cells. And each of those should be about the same voltage-wise. So if you notice the green bars, they're all about equal, and just below the bars, you can see what they're currently putting out. So 3.81 across the board. So the far right, we have 3.8. If you notice one of these cells dropping way down low, that would indicate a bad battery cell, and you're gonna wanna go ahead and get a new battery there. I do wanna point out, towards the bottom of the screen, we have the option to show the voltage on the main screen. And this is gonna show the voltage of the lowest battery cell. So if you look there to the right once more, 3.80 is a cell with currently the lowest voltage. I'm gonna go ahead and enable this voltage on main screen option. And if we jump back over to the home screen, look at the top right-hand corner, it shows us 3.80. That's a pretty quick way to show the health of the battery on the home screen, so you don't have to jump into the battery settings if you suspect that maybe one of the battery cells is going bad. And it's as simple as that, guys. That's how you go ahead and check the health of the battery. All right, that sums it up. So those are the 11 common problems that you may have with your Phantom 4 battery. If you guys have experienced any of these issues yourselves, or you've experienced some other issue that I didn't list in this video, drop them in the comment section below. Like this video if you found it helpful, and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more content. All right, guys, thanks. See you around.